Chris, if you had three tips to give someone that wants to go from being just a good athlete, like national level, to being elite, and breaking out of the country and winning international titles, what would your advice be?
I think, and I like always said this, like I do think it's getting fucking worse and worse. If you're going to go to that level of taking the sport that seriously, unfortunately nowadays more than ever, it takes fucking money. And like
Yeah.
when I go into schools now, when I do talks in schools and stuff, I tell them the story about Mrs. Morrow, right? And Mrs. Morrow was about 4 foot fuck all, and she used to beat me with a ruler to make sure that I got my maths done. And all I wanted to do when I was at school was to run out at Lansdowne Road at the time, Aviva Stadium for Ireland. Like that was my vision and goals. Like that's all I ever wanted to do was to prop for Ireland. And I was like, I don't need maths to be able to do that. And but she pushed me on, and I got a grade C, which was my five GCSEs. Then when I left school, um, then not long since I left school, I got into strongman. Like fell in love with that completely. Fell out with the rugby world. Was absorbed with strongman the same way I was rugby. Um, but a few years down the line, I was able to get the job that I got in the banking world. And the only way I could have got that job was if I had five GCSEs. If I had four, I wasn't getting it. And that job was an extremely well paid job, which led to me being able to do whatever the fuck I wanted to in strongman. While there's other people out there and we're in situations of like, I can't fly out to that, I can't buy this, I can't get that. I could just buy equipment as I needed it. I could just do what I wanted. I could just buy whatever I needed, like fly to wherever I flied. And this is back then when you got asked to go to competitions or you went to competitions, you paid your own flight, you paid your own hotel, you paid everything, like, do you know what I mean? But the sport now, like me looking to get back in for one last hurrah here, and I'm sitting there going, "What me? This is going to cost me £300 a week in food. Never mind everything else." Like the sport is
I think that's the
so
stuff
so
people don't
expensive
see.
now.
It's fucking expensive.
I don't think that you could do elite level strongman, like like world level, like being a giants competitor or something like that. There, like that level, like pro level. I think you would struggle to do it for less than 750 a grand a month. When you put everything in, like unless you're getting sponsored this, sponsored that, and all the rest of it, you think about your like therapy treatments, you think about your food bill, you think about your traveling costs, you think of like
Aye. Especially internationally, because like the Santa Monica Classic, I'm going to in 4 weeks' time is in California at the same time as the World Cup. And I'm in a very fortunate position and very grateful of sponsors that help.
yeah,
But even at that, I think like fuck me and Nikita's flights were like nearly 2 grand, and then the hotel for 5 nights, right? And this isn't no fancy hotel. This is just it's not horrible, but it's because the World Cup 2.5 grand.
yeah.
So
Like I remember, like, and I think people need to like, you're not going to do the sport, and you're not going to get to that level if you're broke. You know what I mean? So get that
definitely not.
sorted first. Get your income
Uh,
sorted first. And like, I remember years ago, I genuinely believed that I could make money from strongman. Like I genuinely believe it. And do you remember Dave at the Irish Muscle Power? We had the panel
Mm-hmm.
with Colin Bryce and Benny Magnuson and all.
That's right. Yeah.
And I met what was the last time I met Colin? I think he was over at one of your shows or something and all.
Maybe I was
Um,
in Bangor. It was a GHQ, and Benny was there because
aye,
that was the
I
first time I did the
I had
show.
him refereeing a couple of times.
That was
Yeah.
just around 2 weeks ago when these guys all these deadlift suits on, and I was still this bodybuilder, and I was like, "What the fuck are these boys wearing?"
but I mind that panel. I asked the question: do you think you can make money in strongman? And Colin brought it in over Matty or over Benny and said, I want to answer this here. And he's like, no. He says, it's not a sport you can make money in. It's not you know, if you're getting into it for that reason, it's the wrong reasons. A lot of that's true. A lot of that's still true. But I always believed that I could. You know what I mean? And I built everything in my life around strongman to like bring money in and create it Bear Strong and create it the brand and all. Still originates from strongman.